A terrifying case for parents. An Omaha man is accused of kidnapping a pair of sisters from Florida.
Prosecutors claim 19-year-old Sir Mullah Say drove from Omaha to Florida to pick up the children ages 12 and 15. Their family reports Say spoke with them on the gaming platform Roblox as well as Snapchat. Police pulled over Say on Sunday in Georgia. The two girls were in the car. Say was reportedly planning on driving back to Omaha. We're told the girls were not harmed.
Now today, authorities are warning parents to be aware of predators lurking in chat rooms.
First Alert 6's Philip Katafimo joins us live from the newsroom. And Philip, you talked with experts about what we can do to keep kids safe.
Yeah, that's right, Brian and Aaron. Cases like this are not new. Back in October, a central Nebraska man joined a national lawsuit. He alleged a predator groomed him on Roblox when he was a teen, but there are ways to monitor your child's online activity. Grooming and manipulation are not new, but experts say the tools used to communicate with kids are changing.
I think our alleged offenders do a very good job of staying up to date with technology and where are the youth at and trying to engage them online.
Colleen Brazel with Project Harmony says offenders take advantage of popular social media and video game platforms, and anonymous profiles make targeting your children easier.
Children are a little bit more vulnerable to that because they lack that understanding that someone may not be who they say they are online.
Brazel says this activity is part of an ongoing issue. Typically, communication starts very innocent and progresses from there.
It could be inappropriate talk, it then could be inappropriate pictures, and could ultimately move to or progress to actually trying to meet them in person.
Experts say it's important to understand what apps, chat rooms, or game lobbies your kids are using, and for your child to understand the correct use of technology online. Other advice from Project Harmony: use filters to restrict what type of content is coming across their feeds, install or set a sleep time so messages or calls can't go through at certain hours, and remember, talking with your child is important.
I think we get much more information from our children by being engaged and connected with them, being curious, as well as setting limits. And so children will talk to us when we take an interest in what they're doing.
I did reach out to Roblox today for a comment on the recent arrest. They said, quote, "We have filters designed to block the sharing of personal information, don't allow user-to-user image or video sharing, and recently rolled out age checks globally to limit kids and teens to chatting with others their age by default." They say, while no system is perfect, our commitment to safety never ends, and we continue to strengthen protections to keep users safe. They have filters to block sharing personal information, and they recently rolled out age checks, adding, quote, again, while no system is perfect, their commitment to safety never ends. We do have that full quote and information from Project Harmony for you tonight on our website and on our First Alert 6 app. In the newsroom, I'm Philip Katafimo. First Alert 6, back to you, Aaron.
Philip, thank you. A Nebraska